Hey, what's going on, guys? Adam with NFT Bros Podcast here with a special guest, Legato. Thank you for coming on the podcast. If you guys are following along on the YouTube channel, please go follow my boy. Link is in the description for his project and his personal Twitter. Get those numbers up, pump them up for him, and shoot my boy a follow over here. So, Legato, today we're going to speak about like what it means not only to you about like what it is of being a founder of a project, but the back end of being a founder of a project and the things that don't get talked about really. And I think we should just kind of dive in there and start discussing it. Like what is or what was the we'll start with this question. What is or what was the most difficult thing about starting your project? And then to preface that, give them a little bit of a background of your project.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I'm Matt or Legato. Everybody has. It's funny when you meet people or do any video with people, and it's like you're so used to calling them a certain name. You know what I mean? So I think Legato is probably more natural to anybody who knows me. But so I'm the founder of Omega Alpha and soon to be Omega Orcs, which is minting next week at the time of this recording. Shameless plug. You like that? Um, so I've worked with Dante Walker, crypto and DWC for a while. Been in crypto a couple years, NFT specifically since like mid to late 2021. And I remember, and that kind of flows into answering your question. I learned a lot about NFTs. Maybe I make a couple flips. I get rugged and scammed a couple times. It's the rite of passage for everybody, unfortunately, in this space. Hopefully in the future that will change. But that's kind of how it goes. But like a lot of people, it's kind of like, hey, I want to start my own project, or I have this great idea, or I have this art, or here's my million Bitcoin idea, And I think one of the hardest things is recognizing how much work. I mean, I know you know this, obviously, but like how much work really goes into launching a successful project, especially when it's not a great market, because if you were to go and look on Twitter right now, and if you were to go type like NFT projects, I mean, there's thousands, it's insane. So, what can you do, or what, you have to put in a lot of work to stand out,
Yep.
And for me, it was, I like doing a lot of things myself. I still struggle with this. For me, delegation was probably one of the hardest things to accept, because there's so much. I wake up now and I have a project launching next week, and it's like I have 50 DMs every day when I wake up. Yesterday I spent 4 hours doing nothing but answering DMs when I should have been reviewing something else or getting back to the dev or doing. It's very hard to stay focused, and you want to do everything yourself, and it's just 99% of the projects, like you can't do it all yourself. It's impossible.
It's so hard. And just to interject here, the DMs, it's so hard because in this space, you can't just go and hire an assistant like randomly, right?
Right.
And have them be trustworthy without already knowing them, because to have access to your Discord DMs, they have to have access to your entire Discord, which means they have access to your
Yeah,
server if you're the
and
admin.
you can't
And that shit is like absolutely
can't
not.
do that. Yeah,
Like the only way to do that is to give one of your discords a lower role in that server and then have your admin be a completely different
yeah,
discord. And like there's some of those things people never think
yeah,
about. And like maybe you're listening to this podcast right now and you're like thinking about, "Oh, I'm getting flooded with DMs. I'm going to hire an assistant." Be careful.
yeah,
There are malicious people out there that will take advantage of you and try and hurt your community that you're building, because it's easy, right?
yeah,
They can lie to you. They can be like, "Oh yeah, I have this experience. I've already helped multiple projects launch. I'm a great assistant, blah 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 blah." And then they get in your Discord and boom,
yeah.
they change your password. Now you don't have access. Boom, they put a fake mint link in your
Mhm.
Discord. and fuck
Yeah,
their community for $20,000. It's like,
yeah, and not only that, but especially like somebody like me, like I'm a small fish in a big sea, but I have a reputation. People respect me. If I make an announcement and say, hey, go do this, or hey, check this out,
yeah,
people will
people
listen
are
to it, and
going
even
to.
more
Yeah.
so. Yeah, and even more so if you're like like a real influencer, right? I'm not an influencer. I have my
Yeah.
my little crowd, right? But like if someone hacks an influencer's account and drops a link, like
Yep.
people are going to click that.
Absolutely.
And what you said is a great idea. It's one of those security things, like have a alt Discord as the
Yeah.
actual admin. So
Yeah.
because God forbid if you click something wrong, and you never know. And then
Yep.
also other little things like with Discord security, with you don't want to give every single bot full admin. Like it's
Nope.
easier to
It
but if
is
you
way easier just to hit that all button.
instead of
But
going to the 37
and
different options,
yeah,
but you shouldn't do
yeah.
that.
Nope, absolutely not. Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough, and it just little things like that I never realized. And then it's also the marketing piece, right? I mean, there's so many projects out there that think they have cool art or think they have a good idea, and they tweet about it, right? They're all excited, they go to sleep, wake up the next day, and there's like 10 likes and 2 comments on there, and 2 of those comments are DMs from promoters,
Yeah.
or comments from promoters for you to
Saying to
pay them.
DM me. Yeah.
Right.
DM me,
And there's
let's
my
work.
advice, and there's some advice there. That's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Not, I'm sure 1 out of 10, there's some legitimate promoter out there, maybe, but the other 9 out of 10, it's all bullshit. It's all fake
Yep.
follows. There's no engagement. It's shit.
Yeah. There's a reason the deal with Elon buying Twitter fell through. It's because they wouldn't give him the data to show the bots. Like, come on. And it's probably a higher number than 1 out of 10. It's probably much higher. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's probably much
Yeah,
higher, right?
certainly.
If you look at those guys' Twitters too, you'll see like they're doing that comment on tons of
Oh,
projects, and then they'll also, if you look in their feed, it'll be like, "Hey, follow me to win $8 in a bag of
yeah.
chips," and they get 1,000 people to do
Yep.
it, and then they put your shit on there, and you see your numbers up. You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you can pay for YouTube videos for small time
Yep.
YouTubers like 200. I know some, I won't mention them, but it's like 200 or 500
Yeah.
bucks, and it's like." You see 1,000 views on that YouTube or something, you're like, oh, cool, but
It's all
you don't get anything out of it.
no, you really don't. And like you're better off trying to go and form a relationship with a bigger YouTuber and or like a more organic, real influencer and giving them either a portion of your mint or giving them, a bunch of whitelist spots for their community and really trying to, I wouldn't say like grease them up, but like grease them up, I guess, and just be like, hey, it would be awesome if we got a YouTube video from you. Like, I didn't know Champ T was gonna do a YouTube video on us. It just happened, right? Like, I didn't ask him for that, and it just happened organically one day, and I was like, oh shit, like that's dope. And now me and him, we have a better relationship now. He's coming on the podcast pretty soon. Alpha, he'll be on the next podcast, guys. So pay attention for that one. But yeah, like the amount of people who like the space is so new still that the scammers are ridiculous. It's crazy. I mean, we could talk for 2 hours on just like current scams going on in the space.
There's fake open seas.
Exactly. Like I've reported 3 this week on for just cubes. And it's like,
Yeah, mine didn't mint. My Omega Orcs didn't even mint yet at the time we're recording
yeah,
this, and there's like 3 fake ones. There's 3 fake Twitters. There's like it's
dude,
nuts,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that also one the thing you mentioned about influencers. I think one thing that when I first started, so here's the secret of the day. So like OGs will know this, but when my Omega Alpha was actually originally Omega Orcs. At the end of 2021, my project was actually Omega Orcs because started to get some art, thought this would be fun, and found out that everybody just cared about alpha and whitelists and connections, and that was like my strong suit. That was my team's strong suit. So we made the hard decision of pivoting, and very quickly, boom, Omega Alpha. Like most people wouldn't even know that,
Yeah.
but now, and part of the problem was somebody I know early on told me like you should really build up your connections and people you know first before launching a project,
Absolutely.
or know somebody who has those
Yep.
connections, because if not, you're going to be NFT shit project 879 on
Yep.
Twitter that posts a tweet and thinks they're going to get all these followers. And, and the sad part is in this market right now, good projects fail. Really awesome teams,
Yep.
awesome founders, hardworking, well-intentioned people are failing. And I don't want to say the name of the project, but like, uh, pictures of like bathrooms and like ugly crap and stuff like that is actually selling out and getting more
Yeah.
attention,
Right.
which is kind of fun. You're gambling,
Yeah.
whatever, but like in reality, like for the health of the
Yeah.
space, that sucks,
It
right?
does. It
Like
really does.
these good projects are getting shit on, pun intended, by junk that's going to go to zero in 2 seconds.
Yes. Absolutely. And
You know,
it does make me upset a little bit, but at the end of the day, you have to understand who's in this market. And if you can understand who's in this market and build up not only your project but your personal connections and relationships strategically enough to where then you can release an idea and people will be like, "Oh shit. There's actually something cool going on here. It's not just the art." It's which I totally respect. Like if your project is only art, fucking great. I like art.
it
I
can
purchase
right,
shit for art all the
yeah,
time. I have stuff in my
right.
ledger that's purely just because I liked what it looked like. Um, but I
Yeah,
think
for
if
sure.
I were to rewind, like I saw a tweet from NFT Llama the other day who said I think he said like I wish I could do things differently, or like if I could relaunch,
I saw
yeah.
that.
And I
Yeah,
resonate with that a
I did see
ton.
that.
Like if I could go
Hmm.
back and redo what I did and how I went about launching my project and myself in the space, I would do it completely differently.
Oh yeah,
Like,
there's so many things I would
oh,
change, and I'd have like I didn't. The one big thing with me was not to cut you off, but like what I was saying with not having a
yeah,
team, I was like, oh, I'm a good talker. I have experience in like finance, sales, e-com, business. Like, just put me on the mic, I'm
yeah,
good. But then it's like I realized, oh man, I really wish I had a designer. I really wish I had a collab person. I really wish I had. I mean, just think about like doing those, like the tweets that are like 50K and some little
yeah,
quick art. Like, so what am I going to do that at 2
yeah,
a.m. and then while I should be responding to something else, and then I should be doing this, and
yep.
then and it's an illusion if someone thinks that you can run a project and also actively trade
Oh,
NFTs every
no,
day.
absolutely not.
It
It's one or the other.
You can
Honestly, you can
dabble.
dabble.
I pull
I'm
it off
dabbling.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah, like if there's a big mint,
yeah,
like the Yin Yang Gang was real
yeah.
hyped, and I had that when I was all on.
Rango.
NFT nerds
Yeah,
watching stuff and charts. Like, I'll get in on the big
yeah,
stuff, or my team will be like, "Yo, you should
yeah,
mint this." I'm like, "Oh, all right. What's the link? What
yeah,
project is this?" And then I'll go mint. I'll watch for 10 minutes, and then I get a call from somebody wanting to do a podcast or something crazy, and then I can't, I can't
yeah.
focus. So it's just the time. I mean, months and months
Absolutely.
and hours. Like,
So like you bring up a
you
great
know,
point of like being able to find all these people to work with and do these things. A lot of people who are getting into the NFT space who maybe have a good idea and want to launch a project, they don't have the money, right? So um,
yeah,
here's
it's very hard without a
yeah,
small
exactly.
amount
So
of
so
money.
here's my advice for those of you who want to get into the NFT space, who have a great idea. Maybe you don't have an idea, but you just want to, you want to help contribute or like launch a project in some way. And like that's what you want. Maybe it's the feeling of ownership, the feeling of like power, or like whatever it is
Mm.
for you specifically. Here's what I would do if I were just getting into the NFT space, launching a project, right? So the first thing is I would go out and make a bunch of
Join
friends.
Omega Alpha. What's
Join
the
Omega
next thing?
Alpha, yes. So I would, yeah, no,
Right.
you
Besides
make a
that,
good point though.
right.
I would join a bunch of alpha groups, yeah,
Alpha groups, though,
some
for real.
good alpha groups,
Mm.
and I would start making friends. And you're in those alpha groups, whether you paid to get in them or not, whether they're free or they have a pass or whatever, you're going to start making some money, okay? Start taking the profits and putting 30% away into a fund to help launch your project, okay? That's step one. Get into alpha groups, make friends, make some profit, okay? That's step one. Step two, start asking in those alpha groups if you can help do collaborations for the alpha groups. Offer for free.
Huge. Networking.
For free. Networking.
Huge.
Because you get in the DMs and you start helping these alpha groups with collaborations to give away whitelist spots. You not only secure yourself whitelist spots because you're doing it for free. Usually you get whitelist spots for doing that without pay, right? That's your pay. So now you have knowledge, you have friends, you have connections, and you have a little bit of money stored aside. Now what you start doing is asking to be included on those tweets and in those Discord announcements for the giveaways of those whitelist collaborations that you bring to the project or that you negotiate. So now you start building your following. You not only have connections, but building your personal following. Huge.
Building your personal following, people forget. I didn't give a shit about that in the beginning. And even still, like, as of recording this, I think Omega Alpha is at like 63K. Omega Orcs is at like 52. My personal is at like 14, right? Which is fine. I don't care. Yeah. But it's 14K is still, I guess, better than the average person it starts, right? But like, I know people that like all they've been is collab managers like for life, and they're like 60K followers and stuff. Because once you get rolling a little bit, it's really not that hard. And let's be honest, if you're talking with someone, the first thing you're going to look at is, well, what projects have they worked with? Maybe who's their mutual friends? Let me look at their Twitter, right? And it's funny, like, if you look at my collab managers, like, I have some guys with like 3K Twitter, 5K Twitter, one guy 60K, and then I have another one who's like, I don't know, 8. Like, he just doesn't care. And like, I'm telling him, like, you might not care right now, but a year from now, you know, or when someone looks at it, you know, and what you said is great with getting involved in alpha groups and friends. And I'll let you know, here's something that my team knows. But so, you know, in Omega Alpha, none of my team, I have 5 core team members. I have 10 or 15 collab mods. I have 8 or 10 alpha deals. I don't know, whatever. None, and that actually wasn't shameless self-promotion, truthfully. But I don't pay any of them. None of my team gets paid directly. Do I hook them up with whitelists? Of course I do. If I come up with an opportunity to make money elsewhere, do I share it with them? Of course I do. If I get hired, which I do from time to time, for like advising or consulting, and there's an opportunity, I can bring somebody in to help elevate them or help make them money, of course I do. But, you know, and the way that I built my team was just what you said, alpha groups, I get to know some people, make some friends. You know, Pachan's one of my collab managers. I go way back with him. I literally was like, yo, I'm going to do this project. What do you think? Want to help me out? You know, let's get some white lists, you know? He's like, all right, let's go.
That's a perfect segue into kind of like step 3 of the process. And, you know, the step 1 is getting your network and getting those connections and building that up, right, for free and setting that money aside. And then step 2 is really start growing your personal brand. And it's a perfect segue into step 3 of like those connections. Now you start asking your friends like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this project. Would you be down? Then you start building up your core team. You have the collab managers who are your homies, right? You're like, hey, like, come on board. I'll give you a % of the mint if it's a paid mint, and you know, I'll allow you to build your following up, and then you find graphic designers, you find web designers, you find smart contract devs, and you just start making this network of friends, which is really fucking easy to do now, because all you have to do is go into these alpha groups and ask anybody, hey, do you know where I can find a smart contract dev, a graphic designer? And literally people will just be like, oh yeah, I have 6 friends who are smart contract devs because I'm a full stack dev in web 2 right now.
Right, and you don't know what people do. Except the guy like Pachan, who's close team member and friend of mine now. Like actually, I think right now he's designing the website for Omega Alpha. Right, the same dev that I used, the dev that did Dante Walker's original pass. I wound up getting connected with him. He did Omega Alpha. Now he's doing Omega Orcs. Like, there's just so many. You just know people. Like, I get added in DMs now, and I know
All the time.
half the people in there. It's like,
Yeah,
hey, what's
same.
up? And it just makes it
Yep.
right, and it makes it so much easier to deal with everything, you know. But I do want to say, like, I guess I'm not. When I said nobody gets paid, when I had my paid mint, there's some people that helped me out that I paid, but
Right, you
that
get
was
your
different.
percent, or yeah.
Yeah. Well, right, but well, the reason
Spread
I
the
bring
wealth.
that up is because it's also the trust of it's totally different when you hire someone or bring someone on your team that you've developed a relationship with and trust. Just like you said, the very first thing you said
Yeah.
about who to trust, as opposed to some rando dude that opened a ticket in my server who just did it with 5,000. Who's like, hey, I'd love to be a part of your team. You know, like, so now I don't do if you're not an Omega Alpha holder, you're not on the team. I think there's 2 exceptions to that,
Yeah.
maybe out of like 20
Yep.
that I know them. But I just keep it real tight because they trust me because I can look out for them. You know, if
Yeah.
it's maybe if it's a whitelist, if it's help with something, if it's whatever. Like, to me, I think loyalty is the most important thing. And, you know, the way that I built my team was great. However, the problem is it was really hard in the beginning because I didn't know anybody. Like, I wish I would have, like what you said, what Llama said. If I could go back, I would have done kind of basically what you said with the steps, where it's like, you know, let me get in, let me trade some NFTs, let me get burned, let me make some money, let me get in voice chats. Like, I remember when Nanoverse was minting back in the day. Like, I'm on voice chat with 20 people in DWC, and I didn't know a lot. Like, I was experienced, but not as much as these guys, and just listening. Like, I've gotten
Yeah.
more alpha in the chat rooms, just random shit, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
then, you know, and for that was huge because, like, I had a project reach out to me recently for some advising stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're just cool idea, cool art, and I'm like, all right, like, so what? They're like, well, what's pre-mint? I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, and like,
Like they just
which is
didn't
fine,
know.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Everybody's
absolutely.
new. I was new,
Right.
right? I was new at one point too. It's not a
Yep, same.
knock, but it's like you really should at least like
Do some
trade a
basic
couple
research.
NFTs,
Yeah,
mint a
understand
couple, like
understand the
have a
market for sure.
yeah, and
Yeah.
understanding the market. So something about that. I'm gonna butcher whatever outline you had for the show. I'm probably gonna be like all over the place.
No, you're
So
good.
please feel free to cut me off. Um, but understanding the market is immense
Yep.
because, like, you know, you might have an idea that sounds dope now, really cool. You have this whole plan. Oh, I'm going to mint 5,000. It's going to be a zero point 0.08 mint. This is going to be great. We're going to do tokens and marketplace, and we're going to do XYZ. Awesome. It takes you 3 months to drop that project. Well, in 3 months, ETH is half price.
Yeah.
Everyone and their mother has a whitelist token in a marketplace. No offense to whitelist tokens and marketplaces. They're definitely cool, but it's not like a unique thing, right? Unique was when Just Cubes came out and nobody knew what the fuck a private node was until you and your project literally, like, maybe some people knew, right? But
Some
most
very
people,
small portion of the
very
market.
few
It was
people
like
didn't know.
in the single digit
It
percentages,
was
more than
huge.
likely.
And then
Yeah.
once people started to realize it, you know, and that was it. And you guys, you know, and now, I mean, there's so many nodes, you know, nodes are
Yeah.
not uncommon now, right?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
like, that's you have to know the timing in the market. Like, if you're minting right now and you're going to mint a 5,000 or 10,000 project today, September 22nd, when we're recording this, and I'm seeing your beautiful mugshot on video, and you're going to do zero point 0.1 mint and you're going to mint 8,000, guess what?
No,
You're
the fuck you're
probably going to
not.
fail.
No, the
No,
fuck you're not.
unless
Absolutely
right, you know,
not.
you're not.
Fuck
Unless
no.
you have something really, truly
Yeah.
awesome or a connection, something big, something
Yeah.
truly exciting, then it's different.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, what but you just can't. It's not like it was before.
No.
Look at Izu, right? I have a lot of respect for what they're doing. I've listened to Vultura podcast. He's a smart dude. All
Yes.
that stuff's awesome. But they couldn't even min out. They were doing point two. They
Yeah.
couldn't min out. They
Yeah.
had to split their supply and double up. And it's not a knock. I personally
What
don't know
was
why
their
they went with
supply?
point two. Well, it's 15,000 now, but I think it was
Jesus.
10,000
Holy shit.
originally and 5,000 to PA holders.
Okay.
And I can't remember the number exactly. I think they minted 6 or 7,000. So they still did very well. And
Yeah.
I'm a holder. I have a couple on my ledger. I'm bullish in the future. But like, even like, it's tough for anybody. You get caught up in like, you're just not gonna. Or these projects that are like, hey, we have no utility, no promises, undocs team, absolutely nothing, but we're going to mint 3,000 at 0.05. Guess what? I bet you're not minting 300.
Nope.
And
Nope.
if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. More power to you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, if
Most of the time,
the crazy shit McGoblin, uh, dick butt ape art goes
yeah.
crazy, fuck
Oh,
it.
you
It
got that
goes
too?
crazy. Hey, I got it too, man. I'm happy for
Yeah.
you. Fuck it.
That
Like,
hidden folder. That hidden
yeah.
folder.
Oh fuck my hidden
But
folder, man.
but like think about what Goblin Town. The timing was with the Degen Mint and the Freeman
Yep.
stuff. The timing they did was perfect, and that marketing that they
Yep.
did with their Twitter Spaces, where they were doing like the Goblin sounds on the Twitter Spaces and shit.
Oh, it's just so fucking degenerate that people were just like, all right, fuck yeah, let's go. It was what the space needed at the time. Everything was going down and nobody was happy. And then Goblin Town came in and they're like, hey, come here, D-Gens. Let's just do stupid shit together on Twitter Spaces and laugh and make fucking weird noises. And then everybody's like, this is what we need. We need this right now. Let's go. Twitter Spaces. That is exactly what happened. And it was perfect.
Yeah, it's true. And I like the Degen stuff.
Oh, I fucking love it too. I love it too.
I'd play around. You know, can you argue in the future of Web3? It's probably not the greatest thing, maybe, but at least there's some action, there's something going on.
Exactly.
People are involved, and the space will trends happen, and now I think we're moving into like the people are more interested in art stuff or stuff that has VCs and funding behind it. That's the type of stuff as of today, in my opinion, that's starting to like catch. Like if you hear a project has a VC and a real artist, you're like,
Yeah, it's it's because VCs provide security. If you have money and you know for a fact that this project has funding and can make it through the bear market, no matter if it's 1 year, no matter if it's 3 years, if they can make it through that, your investment is more secure. Which brings up a good point and something that I kind of wanted to come full circle on was the connections in the space that you make. You mentioned that the guy who's designing the website for Orcs did DWC's pass. Did he now I want to ask, did he do the website or did he do the pass itself, like the 3D blender image of it?
okay, so the dev who handled the smart contract and the minting for DWC did it for Omega Alpha and is doing it for Omega
Okay.
Orcs. The website stuff is somebody else, but he did that. Then I had somebody else do the art. Actually, for my stupid Omega Alpha, not stupid logo. I love the logo, but this logo was, and this might tie into what you might be about to say. I had to get. I mean, look at this thing. It's shameless, right?
Yeah.
Look, it's really not that right. You could. I needed like. I think I had one artist. I had 3 artists touch this logo. I had to pay 3 different people before I could release it. Now I could have just not gave a shit, and I could have went like the first $5 thing that I found, and I could have done that, right? If somebody does that, whatever, that's fine. Do you think? But I wanted something that you couldn't just Google and have 37 different variations of it. So I had to get one guy. He stole art, so I couldn't use his stuff. Then I had to find somebody else. Then he did it, and I liked it, but he didn't get the coloring. It was he didn't know. I had to get somebody else to edit what he did. I had 3 different people. I had to pay 3 different people to do that spinning pass for Omega Alpha. Pick the best one. Then add this logo to it. That like it sounds like such an easy thing. It was just probably what you were getting
Yeah.
at, but like I had to spend so much time and people to do a freaking
Yeah.
logo. I mean, it was nuts.
So this is precisely what I'm getting at. I'm sorry that you had to go through all that bullshit. I had similar experiences with devs fucking us over. Like,
Yeah, my dev has been
anyways,
solid just for, but
yes.
the artist
So for the
was
most
terrible.
part, yeah. Okay. So great. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but this is my point. The connections that you make, me and him, on this podcast, not only will it help him promote his project that's minting, and it'll give me some content to help promote the podcast and grow and like all these different things. But the number one thing that the majority of you guys would never know if I didn't have this podcast is now his artist that did that 3D rendering for him, I'm going to ask for the contact because I need a 3D artist for a project that I'm doing coming up in the near future. And he might be able to be like, all right, well, hey, don't go with this first guy. Don't go
I
with
got a
the
list of
second
people,
guy.
not to
Here's
use,
the third guy.
but yeah,
Please give me the list of people to not go with so I can avoid that shit. But like the learning curve of all the bullshit that you're gonna go through, whether it's marketing or artists or smart contract devs. Like, if you guys are listening to this podcast and you need a smart contract dev or a website builder, fucking DM me. Don't try and just like go out and well yes, go make contacts and friends and network. But like if you are like, oh fuck, my smart contracts fucked, I need somebody to do something now. I can get you somebody trustworthy who can do something now
right.
to fix your shit. Maybe to save your mint. I've saved 3 mints from friends of mine who I told that to, and they were like, oh shit, Adam knows a smart contract dev that can help fix this really quickly. Let me shoot him a DM. It was literally during their fucking mint. Their website MetaMask button did not work. And they were like, Adam, I need fucking help. And I was like, all right, yo, get on fucking Discord. He was like, okay. Right. And then he came and helped, right? And those are the small connections that will save you down the line, right? Like the artist that you're hopefully going to introduce me to, and hopefully I can get some work done from them. So I do have something, and you'll get whitelist for it. It's really fucking cool. I can't say anything on the podcast, but I will tell you after the pod specifically what it is. It's pretty fucking cool. I'm excited to launch it. I think you'll be stoked. But yeah, that was my one thing that I wanted to bring up was like the connections that you make. Yeah. You never know.
You know how I met you?
Turn out to
Do you remember how I met you? I bet you don't. I bet you don't remember the finer details.
Dante.
No.
Dante.
No.
No? How did you?
Exactly. So
hold on.
You won't remember.
No, that's bullshit. We met in the fucking. Okay, tell me.
What? How do you think we met?
Dante Walker.
No.
In the group chat. When we worked together. No. Okay.
I introed you to them, but anyway. No. So you way before Just Cubes minted, right?
Feet Finder. Oh, that's what it was.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about my foot pick only fans on here. That's a holder only thing, man. So shit. Way back in another alpha group, I don't even remember how. Here's a long story. I'll be short, but just to give you an idea of how connections work, there's a random guy that I met that was really big on Arbitrum and Magic, right? Guy barely spoke English, right? I had a hell of a time communicating with him, but he was really cool. And we talked, and he showed me some stuff, and I was like, yo, look, go to these different places, try to get collabs. I said, look, if you want to be a collab manager for me, I'll give you whitelists, I'll help you out, do whatever I can. He either went into the Just Cube server, this is way before Mint, or something, and put some type of request out there for a collab. You came into my server and typed in my public chat, hey, blah, 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 I think you like pinged me or pinged him for a collab, right? That guy, right, you might not even remember. You were so busy. You were like, there's 1,000 things going on at once.
Dude, I swear to you, I'm not joking. I'll make this quick. Like from the third week into our like launching of Just Cubes, like the Twitter and whatever, to like 2 weeks after mint, I swear to you, I had 300 DMs a day. A fucking day. It was
you probably don't.
Dude, I probably sent 80,000 messages. So I don't recall.
Yeah, but it's just so it's funny. So you came in, he wound up ghosting and leaving. I don't know what happened, but I saw you. I saw the project. I'm like, oh, all right, let me talk to this guy. So I talked to you for a little bit. I got like a couple whitelists from you or something like that. We talked again later, whitelists. I actually remember, I thought I introed you to Dante. I could be wrong, though. You could have found him another way, and then we crossed stream, whatever again. But so then we're talking, and then if you think about that, if I would have never talked to that one collab manager that I met in Alpha Group, my group Omega Alpha would never have a partnership with Just Cubes and a node. We'd never be doing a podcast. We'd never be, well, I won't repeat the exciting news you just told me before the podcast about you, but I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't be a part of any of this stuff, like Founders Factory. I got introed by you to them. Like there's just all because of like some random dude that I was curious about Arbitrum and hit him up. Like you just never know who knows what, or what guy you meet that winds up being a CM on some monster project,
Exactly. And you just get hooked up fat because he's your friend, and you get 50 whitelist spots for like imaginary ones or like invisible friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and here's what,
and it's
go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's funny that you mentioned how it was like an interesting course of events on how we met. That's how I met my founders, bro. I was literally in the Brett Way, which, by the way, shout out the Brett Way. Like, I
was on a call with him back
crypto.
In the day.
Dude, he got me into crypto. He made a YouTube video that got me interested, and like I went down this fucking rabbit hole. Anyways, I was in your Discord.
Yeah.
I hope you see this. And as a matter of fact, I'll send it to you because we're friends on Discord. I was in your Discord, and there was a channel in the Discord that was labeled Neo Tokyo Riddle Solving Chat, right? And it was before Neo Tokyo launched. And I was in there trying to help solve the riddles that were coming out. And I made a friend. And I had a private alpha server. It wasn't even like, I didn't even call it an alpha server at the time. It was literally just me and my very, very close homies. Like homies I could text, homies I could call at like 1 a.m. and they'd answer, like that, those homies. And there was like 10 of us. And I invited my co-founder Chronic to that Discord to help try and solve this riddle. I was like, hey, like we can aggregate information in there and, save it all in one centralized location. He was like, all right. So he joined, and then he was like, hey, I have my friend Alec, who I met in another alpha server. Can I invite him to this one? And I was like, all right. Is he solid? He's like, yeah, he's solid. I was like, all right, cool. So we invited him, and it was literally mainly just us three and like 2 other people who were talking in that tiny server.
Right.
And then we just became friends and launched a fucking project together. And now we own multiple businesses together. I fucking moved to Texas and live like 5 minutes from Alec. We never met prior to that. So like the power of connections and friendship is fucking crazy. It's crazy.
It's insane. Coming with like if it wasn't for Dante Walker's group, I got in on the blind bidding before his pass minute. I just found him on YouTube, and I was like, oh, this dude seems like legit. Like it's not like BS. I'm like, oh, he's cool. Oh, they have a bidding. I'm like, oh, what the hell? And I bid some, and I got in. Who knew? I mean, I met like Crypto Bulls, Beast, all these people that are on my team, and I talk to all the freaking time and have other businesses with. Like I would have never met them. You talked about Brett. Like I actually had a phone call with Brett back in because I am a Magic Mushroom holder club still. Back in I don't even know when. And I had a call with him about Omega Orcs the first time. Like at the end of 2021, we were like, yeah, it's crazy. Oh, and by the way, I just searched while you were talking. February 21st.
I know. I scrolled up in our chat too. The chat too.
Hey, I saw you outreaching a Google form. Sorry, it took me a minute to get back to you. A minute. It was probably like a month. But
dude, it probably was. We had like fucking 400 collab requests.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I still don't have a good, like a good way about doing collabs and whatnot. But that's
dude,
for a whole nother. Like,
it's a lot.
dude, we could talk about how to do collabs and how to like structure collabs for another hour. Like that could be an entire episode in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, we do like Omega Alpha now, right? We have like, I think we give a rolling average of over 5,000 whitelists every 30 days. It's nuts,
dude. I don't know how you fucking.
We have a spreadsheet. We have all these people. It's a shit show. I mean, I don't want to say it's a shit show because we're as organized as we can be, but it's tough, to keep up with it. And I don't know if you've heard. I don't know. I only know one guy on the team, but Autoverse. If you've ever heard of them, they've done I think 30,000 whitelists in a week, or a month. I'm sorry, 30. It's like insanity, Or even like Ape.
That's 1,000 a day. How the fuck?
It's nuts. Yeah, they showed a thing of rolling out, or like Ape List. I'm tight with the guys over there are awesome. I love Ape List, but like they're the same. They're in that same vein where it's like, you just do a shit because in the previous market, like we used to vet, we wouldn't work with every project, and now times have changed. Like people, I did a survey to my group. I was like, so how much do you want us to vet whitelists before they come in? And it was like this pie chart, right? And so some people were like, please vet, more. But the vast majority was like, they picked a selection that said, rug me daddy.
Oh my God.
Because they didn't give a shit.
Oh, great. Perfect. So great. Never mind.
They'd rather have 50 whitelists and mint one than miss the one.
Fucking. Yeah. Well, okay. I don't blame them because when the market started going downhill and like a bunch of projects weren't minting out, I was like, okay. I told my collab team, I was like, yo, we are stepping back from volume and going up in quality here, guys. Like,
that's probably smarter than what we did. My guys are just degenerates and they're like, give it to me. So that's what we did.
Well, I think that's a lot of people in the space too, though, because the volume matters. Like, it could be the one of the 50 that you get. Yeah. And the only thing that keeps me from doing that is the ruggability. And like, I say that because you're supposed to use a minting wallet on these degen mints, but people don't fucking listen. People don't do that because it's an extra step, because it takes an extra 2 minutes to create a new wallet on your MetaMask. And people are just like, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to get rugged. Yes, the fuck you are. Your wallet's going to get drained. Use a minting wallet that you don't have shit in. Please.
I mean, I know very, very smart people who I would trust with anything NFT related, and they've fallen victim to a really, really, really good scam at a bad time at 3 a.m. when
you're tired, maybe you're high. Yeah.
Did you see those fake Discord servers are nuts?
Oh,
have you ever seen
so
a good one?
Good. Yes.
With the fake bots?
Yes, the fuck I have.
Yeah.
My collab manager.
Scary shit.
My collab manager. My old head of collabs. So I will say this. When you build your connections in this space, if you can have the trust and loyalty of somebody to have an external form of communication with them outside of Discord, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter DMs,
Telegram,
something outside of Discord, in case they get hacked, they can notify you to kick them from the fucking server as fast as they can possibly humanly type to tell you to do that, because that's what happened. My collab manager got social engineered into joining a Discord for garbage friends. It was a fake garbage friends one.
They get you on the hyped one.
Yes, the hyped ones that don't have a Discord release yet. And there was 40K in server, 8K online. It looked legit. It was I forget which, it was dino.gg.bot. And he was just like, oh, all right. And he joined.
Yeah,
and
or the captures. Yeah,
the
Me6. You can have a Me6 now where you inject a bullshit link into the legit looking Me6, which is crazy.
I know. That's a big security risk. And he contacted me after when he realized, he was like, oh fuck, and he hit me up in that outside of Discord communication, because they immediately went and changed his password and basically took his account. And they were like, yo, he messaged me. He's like, yo, my fucking account's hacked. Kick me from the Discord right now. And I immediately went and kicked him from my Discord. And I knew the other servers that he worked for too. And I knew he was going to reach out to them as well. But I immediately went and I put all of the founders of those servers in a group chat. And I fucking called them on Discord. And they answered. And I said, kick him. And they fucking kicked him immediately. And I guarantee you it saved probably $5,000 to $10,000 worth of damage, because
I'm sure,
he had access in those servers to at everyone for collaborations, for whitelist giveaways, right? And those are the only people in my server, aside from founders, that have that accessibility, right? Because they need that. I don't want to be bothered every time we do a giveaway to at everyone, or have to like wait for that shit. Like, I trust him, and the reason I trust him is because we built a connection for so long. And we have that outside communication that I can go, okay, I know that if you get hacked, you're going to be like, hey, kick me, in an outside form of communication. You're not going to be able to just be like, oh, fuck, I can't do anything. So having that outside communication is huge. I'm not sure if you have that with your team, or like a
every
Slack
core
channel
team
even.
member.
Yeah. Like even
we do Telegram a lot.
Telegram,
Slack, I got cell phones with people.
Yeah. That's a huge point.
You're cutting this out so I can talk about my OnlyFans now?
Yeah, you can talk about your OnlyFans. I definitely won't include that in the episode. I definitely won't use this as clickbait.
Right.
Not at all.
I'm sure. Yeah. It's like the inside joke too. One of the orcs, I didn't show it on a sneak peek yet, but one of the shirts, it actually says "DM me feet pics for collab," and it's a picture of 2 feet. I mean, it's degen as hell, but it's great. And that's why, like with the orcs, I think it's you got to know when to launch shit, right? Like,
and that comes down to understanding the market for sure. Which I will let you go into this. I'm glad you brought that up, because when we first met and you were doing Omega Orcs, I was kind of turned off, because I was like, I don't know if this art's going to do well right now. I know this art will do well.
It wouldn't have.
But now it will. And it's proven that it is. Like, you have 60K on Twitter or whatever. Like, I think now is the better time. I'm glad you made that shift. Yeah.
It's the perfect time, because it's it's not like my artist. I know the artist, like, and he's cool. And he's a really good artist. He's actually not an NFT artist, and I had to like explain to him what it was and layers and everything. And his style is much more fitting of, I don't want to say like degen mint, but like what it is now. It's more like darker, like grittier, like style. Omega Orcs is not a 3D $1 million artist project. That's not what it is. It's a free mint. It's to come and join the community and have fun and have some utility. And to go back to what you were saying, it's about knowing like the market, what's going to do well and what's not. I remember when there was a couple projects early on that had no Discord, the first ones, and they were like Twitter only NFTs. And I remember messaging the guy. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have a Discord? That's that's ridiculous, because it was way early.
Are you going to have a Discord?
No. No, for orcs, I will. You're going to have full access to Omega Alpha, right?
Okay.
To the Omega Alpha Discord and the callers and everything. But I mean, like months ago, I remember this project. I can't remember the name. I do remember the name, but I don't want to shout it out. But they had no Discord, and I was like, how can you have an NFT project with no Discord? That's ridiculous. Now, it is not uncommon for you to go all the way to mid.
No, I want to do it.
It's so much less work, dude.
I want to do it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I can imagine. I'm considering doing it on
do all wallets D2C, do all or direct to contract, do all Twitter.
Yeah.
You don't have to have mods, you don't have to have anything. Like I didn't even link I didn't public. Yeah, I didn't publicly announce it, but it's going to come out in a second, anyway. But like all Omega Orc holders will have full access to Omega Alpha Discord, right? But I never put that Discord in the Omega Orcs Twitter yet because I knew the second I did that, everyone's gonna, I'm gonna get 87,000 good mornings in a row in my public chat, and I just don't want to deal with that yet. I'll deal with it in a week, I guess. One thing is kind of unrelated, not related, but someone a while ago told me that now blockchain, Web3, and everything that's going to come in the future, that's different, But as far as the vacuum of the NFT space, um, someone compared it to basically being like a poker game, and it's the same players, it's the same chips, and the chip stacks just basically get passed around between the same people. Yeah, and you'll occasionally have a new player. Occasionally, someone will slide in, but for the most part, it's the same people. That's why the other fad right now is like um, the close groups, the Magmas, the Toyos, that like all these groups of like the who's who of NFTs to come make this small group and work together. That's like because that's basically what it is, and it's very hard to break into that if you're new. And that goes back to what the original some of the topic was in the beginning. Like you have to recognize that, and you have to either establish yourself and your network first, or you better know someone, like if me or you had a buddy that was this killer artist or had this killer idea but didn't know shit about NFTs, we'd be like, I got you, we're good. You know what I mean? But for most people, like when I was new, I didn't know anything. I remember like I pinged in DWC, I had 1,000 people in my Discord. This was like way back, in like 20 minutes, and then I was like, okay, now what? Like, I didn't know. Like I had this master plan, but it's just it's whatever amount of work or time you think you need if you're starting a project, you literally should multiply that by what, 20, 30? It's nuts.
Yep. Yep. 20, 20, 30. That's probably a pretty good
Yeah. So,
number.
and you got to put the work in,
Most
and
definitely.
oh,
It's a dude. It's a lot more work than people understand. Like, fair warning. Yes, fair warning. If you are wanting to launch an NFT project, be prepared to not get adequate sleep for
forever.
6 months. Minimum. Fucking minimum. Yeah, forever. Honestly, minimum. Like, I went to bed at fucking 4 a.m. last night. Granted, I woke up at 12, so I got a decent amount of sleep, but that's because my body was like, yo, you're not getting up. You need sleep. My body was like, dude,
Yeah. I forced
stop.
myself to go to sleep.
And like I've been going like that
Yeah.
for almost a year.
Yeah, I forced myself last night to go to bed at
Yeah.
2:30.
I've
Like I was like, I gotta go to bed. I gotta
yeah.
go.
It seriously, and you say it's forced,
Yeah.
but it is. Like I literally shut my laptop at 3 a.m. and was like, all right, I'm gonna have some fucking tea. Hopefully it'll help like you know what I mean? Like sometimes tea helps you sleep. And so I was like, all right, I need this because I need to go to bed. And then I was like, all right, the tea's not helping much. Let's read. Maybe it'll
Right,
fucking
because you're
make me
thinking
try to
about. I
sleep.
wake up
And
dreaming
it's just like,
collabs.
my
Art
mind
I
is
should
going
do, and yeah,
dude, my fuck, a million things
Mhm.
going on in my head. And not only that, one of my old collab team members called me yesterday and was like, yo, I have this business proposition. Are you interested? And I was like, I was thinking about that same exact idea, but I didn't want to pursue it because I already had too much going on. But yeah,
Right.
fuck it, let's do it. What's another 4 hours a day of work? Like, whatever. Fuck it. Like, let's run. But be prepared to not sleep adequately.
And don't take shortcuts. Like there's some things maybe you can take a shortcut on. There's some things you can't. Like minting, all you have to do. And I always say this in my group. I'm always like, it baffles me how people don't test their
Oh
fucking
my god.
website for the mint.
Oh my god.
Use testnet, mint one
Yes.
early. I mean, things happen, right? Every once in a while, something happens. But like, test your mint. Like, make sure your
Get your
website works.
contract
Like, don't be
audited.
the project
Get your contract audited.
Oh, yeah. And then if something happens, immediately communicate
Yes.
it. How many times for people in the space you go, oh, mint's at 3 p.m. and you're sitting there looking at Twitter waiting for that link to drop. It's like 3:20, there's nothing. There's all this FUD, people saying stuff. Like, just say, hey, we need more time. Is it a bad look? Probably, but communicate it. It's better than nothing. A bad mint will just kill you, and like you just can't, make sure your dev is. I remember there was one project I was talking to. Oh, our dev's still sleeping. Like, why would you mint while your Web3 smart contract developer is asleep? That is stupid.
You bring that up. That was what happened during one of my friend's mints that I saved. One of those three that I mentioned. His smart contract dev was like, okay, hey, we're all good. I'm gonna go to sleep now. You let your fucking smart contract? No, the fuck you're not. You are staying on Discord live right the fuck now. Go get a Red Bull. Go make some fucking coffee. You're staying up for like the next 3 hours. I don't fucking care.
A bad mint will kill
Months
months
of hard
and
work.
months of hard work because people's attention span are piece of candy, go on. But anyway, but exactly, it's just there's nothing there, and it's so easy to lose faith in this space. Like you have to nail the mint, and like however there's different ways to do it. I'm not a dev, but like with Omega Alpha, we deployed the contract a day ahead of time. And this is just my opinion. I don't know why more projects don't do it like this. You can deploy your contract early, have it all done, and like we turned off minting from the contract. I know that might not be popular with some people, but we turned off contract minting. You had to do it from the website, and we had the button not available on the website until the mint time. Click one publish button, boom, buttons there, go. There's no deploying, there's no waiting for the Ethereum network, there's no anything. Again, that might not fit for everybody, but for us, it was like, you know, don't
It's the smartest way to do
yeah,
it for
and
sure.
don't wait to the last minute. And what do they talk about like in marketing or whatever, like the rules of threes? Like talk to three devs and pick one. You know, even if you're 100% sure you want to use this one guy, go talk to two other guys. Maybe you learn something that is a good question to ask this guy. The first one, with the artists, look at three different artists. You know, like look, if I have some Nike artist who wants to do an NFT with me, all right, I guess I'm not shopping around. But in most cases, you wanna pick, what you do. And it's a shameless thing. So Will, who is the founder for the Littles, which has been around for a while. I'm actually doing an AMA with him tomorrow. I'm kind of curious. I'm interested to talk to him. Smart dude. But if you look, you mentioned Llama's Twitter, so I'll just mention this one. He has a pinned tweet from like October 2021 that has like I can't remember what it's called, but it's like what to know when you're starting an NFT project, or here's a guide to starting an NFT project, and it's a thread, and it nails a lot of the things you're talking about, like have a team, expect a lot of work, expect all these things, like community comes first, your word is important, like make your project your focus, like what drives me nuts is, and I know you've seen it. Have you ever mint a project, or a project mints out, and then on Discord they mint out, they go, thank you guys so much, we love you, we minted out, the team's really tired, we're gonna get some rest, we'll see you in a couple days.
No, no, the fuck you're not. No, the fuck you're not, motherfucker. You're going to sit on live voice chat in your
Right.
fucking Discord, hyped as fuck
Yeah.
with all your
Or
new
play,
holders.
right.
Everybody's happy. I was on voice chat for 14 fucking hours post mint. 14 hours. I gave away 15 Ethereum worth of cubes just because I was just so grateful. And like I just like people came in and they're like, "Dude, out of nowhere you guys just minted out. I didn't
Dude,
get
that
to
was crazy.
get
I
a
remember
cube and
that.
like I don't
I
have
remember.
any money." I was like, "Fuck it. You want a cube? Give me your address. I'll give
Yeah.
it to you."
And
Yeah. I think you were in the Discord voice chat at some point.
yeah, and you don't have to be and does everyone have to be Adam and do 8 lines of coke and be 14 hours of voice chat? No, you don't have to. Well,
Coffee.
not the coke part, but if you
Coffee.
do, just don't talk about it here. Um, but
Yeah.
but do something. Have and if it's
Yep.
announcements planned, if
Yes.
it's an activity,
Yes.
if it's an event, if it's communicate, if it's maybe tell your team to be extra active and
Yep.
run some raffles. I mean, really anything, because when people mint, they've just
Yep.
basically invested in you
Yep.
in some fashion. And you do really want these people to, like, they just spent ETH on you. They might live in whatever area of the world where that
Is a
point
lot of
of
money
two ETH that
to
they
them.
spent is
Right.
of
Yeah.
a lot of money, and you're going to go, thanks for investing us, trust that we're going to work it out. By the way, we
Yeah.
just transferred everything out of the contract 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
totally security. Why wouldn't you make the Ledger wallet to deploy your wallet anyway? Yeah, like, it's bullshit. I don't. Well, yeah, I don't know. It baffles me. It
You
really does.
literally cannot go to bed after you mint out a project. Your adrenaline and the hype and like the excitement and the gratefulness,
Oh, it's
you can,
impossible.
dude. You could have fucking
Yeah,
shot me and I probably wouldn't have died. Like
dude, I was so wired.
dude,
Yeah,
so fucking wired. Literally, definitely didn't need coffee. For sure, didn't need coffee. Did I drink a fuckload of coffee? Yes. Yeah, definitely didn't need it. But it baffles me that people will do that. It's crazy.
yeah. That's just it's a pet peeve of mine, And then to go back to another thing you mentioned in one of your previous podcast episodes. Yes, I actually listened to them all.
Oh, thank
Points
you.
for me. I did. Um, so you talked about. I told you I was going to bounce around. You talked about some, like, basically NFTs are a really big opportunity for funding, right? To find investors. Me and you both have a background in real estate. I learned from your podcast I listened to earlier. Um, and you're right. Like, you talked about things like blockchain for titles and
Yep.
things like that. And the opportunity is, the ceiling is limitless when it comes to what NFTs and blockchain can do.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it all goes back to just being aware of the market, right?
Yep.
Because right now, if you want to, 6 months ago, if you said, we're going to build an awesome game, here's some sneaks, we got a couple advisors, let's fucking go. The mint price is 0.09, we're minting 4,000. By the way, we don't have any money for it, but we'll get it from you, and 6 months from now it'll work. 6 months ago, that project could have still sold out. But if you do that now, again, is there going to be the exceptions to the rule? Of course, but that kind of shit, you're basically attaching a JPEG to a Kickstarter. It's basically glorified crowdfunding. It's a Kickstarter with a JPEG.
Yeah.
And
It really
honestly, in
is.
this market,
It's crowdfunding
that's
at the
exactly
end of
what
the
it
day.
is. And
Yeah.
it's very hard. Like, the ones that are going to do well now are the ones that already have funding, like you mentioned earlier, from elsewhere, that already have, oh, by the way, we're not making a game. We have made the game. Here is the working beta of the game before
Yeah,
mint.
because we're VC
That's the
backed.
more
We've
exciting stuff,
yeah, exactly. I
you know?
100% agree.
But yeah, I was just an example of the market. But yeah, man, you just have to be, you know, and big projects make that mistake too. I
Absolutely.
won't I won't mention the one, but, like, you have two or three incredibly profitable projects, and then you do like a 1 ETH or a point 0.5 ETH Dutch auction on some random one. It's probably not going to go too well
No,
today.
I know which one you're talking about. Um,
It could be anyone. It
yeah,
could be anyone. But,
there's
like, and I have a
multiple of
lot
them
of
that did
respect
that.
for that project,
Yeah,
but it's like,
yeah,
that's why
yeah.
it's not going to work.
Don't want to do a 3 ETH Dutch auction?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah,
Oh
that one.
man,
Yeah, like,
yeah, that
why?
one.
It's not going to work.
Well, you know what? On that note, I think we'll wrap up today's podcast.
Yeah, because if this keeps going, I'm going to start name dropping shit, and that's not going to be good for anybody.
We'll have you on for a future episode to discuss some other stuff. And,
That'd be awesome.
If you do want to come back, we'd love to have you back. And, conversation's always good. Your mindset about how to approach the space is very on par with mine. And I think the conversation's great.
Yeah,
think
I
people
loved it.
will love this
I
episode.
enjoyed this a lot. It was great.
Yeah. So what I like to incorporate at the end of each episode, for those of you who stayed, thank you guys for staying. Matt, will you please go ahead and take 30 seconds to plug what you have going on in the space? I know we spoke about orcs. Give us some details on that, when your mint is, etc. and anything else you got going on.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I shamelessly slid it in there a little bit, but yeah, Omega Alpha. We've been around for a while. We're 333 pass, sold out right away. We're on OpenSea. The most important thing to us is, I think the tagline, if you look in OpenSea, is keep it simple, Alpha Whitelist community. Every single Omega Alpha holder has a free guaranteed mint for Omega Orcs. Any project that I'm ever involved with, and you can quote me on it, any project that I'm ever involved with in the future, my entire holder base of Omega Alpha is going to get whitelisted to it, or I won't be involved with the project. That's kind of like how I am. It's very important to me to do that. The people that supported me from the beginning. But our Omega Orcs, which is minting next week at some point by the end of September. It's basically free entry where it's a free mint. It's fun. You get the utility, like the nodes and the marketplace and the tokens and all this kind of fun stuff. You get access to the community. I'll be lucky to pay for, if I pay for the costs of my mint, it'll be a win for me. Honestly, it's really just to like grow the community, grow the exposure. And I think that's what you got to do in the bear. It's about building now. I mean, building is used all the time, and half the time it's bullshit. Right. It's like, I'm building. It's like you're DMing people on Discord. Calm down. Right. But when you're like, relax. But when you're actually,
I am clipping that. I'm clipping that and tagging K Money.
right. But
yeah.
some people are, and what are you doing? Are you working on big projects? Are you trying to be innovative? Are you trying to be make a connection for the future? Are you trying to build something with other people? Are you really trying to do something? And community's overused too. A community. But then you go on their Discord and it's 18 people saying good morning. Like, that's not a community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just that's what Omega Alpha and I am about, is because if you build a community and the reputation and you really put the effort in, the rest of it and success and money and big projects and all that junk, like all that stuff comes later, so that's kind of like what we're about, and to give people an opportunity to get into a alpha group where you don't have to spend one ETH, right? And I'm a holder of some of them. It's not a knock, but not everybody can do that. I couldn't do, when I started, I didn't want to spend an ETH. No. Let me hope this works out. Out of here.
That was big.
So
exactly same.
That's kind of a little bit about what I try to do, and I try to surround myself with people like you that kind of look at that the same way and support each other in their endeavors and what they do.
Yep.
So I'm glad to be here, man. I had a great time.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate that. Everybody who's listening, thank you guys for tuning in today. If you gained any knowledge, any valuable lesson from this episode, all that I ask is that you leave a review, whether it be a 5-star or a 4-star or whatever you feel that we've earned.
If they don't give you a 5-star review, I'm going to personally send them feed pics, and they don't want to see.
You don't want to.
It's like the Hobbit, like Harry Toe Knuckles. They don't want that.
They're in my Discord DMs.
They don't want that.
But please do give us a review on whatever podcast platform that you're listening to this on. If it's on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We are going to be coming out with a lot of awesome interviews here in the future. I have a bunch lined up and a bunch that I'm planning on lining up. So thank you for joining us, Matt. All of the links for everything Matt is related to are going to be in the links in the description of either the podcast or the YouTube video. Thank you guys for coming on. Thanks for joining us, Matt. I appreciate it. And we'll see you on episode 6.
Thanks for having me, man.
Peace.